Well, what's going on, YouTubers? It's the Natural Born Thriller, and welcome everyone to Impact Wrestling Review, the show from August 11th, 2020. And you got Josh Matthews and Madison Rain as your commentators. Let's get right into this show, folks. Um, Basically, we pick up where we left off after what happened with Rich Swann after being brutally attacked by the world's class maniac, Eric Young, where it pertains to basically the retirement of Rich Swann, which we all know it wasn't really a retirement. It was just a segment to set up uh, this upcoming building up program between Eric Young and Rich Swann for Bound for Glory. I know that for sure. They're gonna have Rich Swann take time off, to pertains to his injury, and then it'll be enough time for him to come back around September, and then have a program with obviously with Eric Young. But first, Eric Young's gonna have a program, building up what pertains going up against Eddie Edwards, what pertains to the Impact World Championship. Speaking of which, we'll get to that later on, what pertains to who was the mystery challenger. Now, I said on the live reaction, and basically what pertains to Mr. Ricky J21. If it's not Jay Lethal, I don't care, and I'm gonna get to that particular wrestler that ends up accepting the challenge. But we'll get to that. So let's get right into the show. So the show opened up with, after seeing what happened with Rich Swann, what Eric Young did, we see Willie Mack and Eric Young fighting backstage. A brawl broke out backstage. It was a pull apart at one point, but they continue on fighting until they got to the arena. Basically, at the area where they're to get in the ring, because they were both have a match later on. But Willie Mack gets on the mic and says, we're out here right now. Let's get it on. We got let's get the securities out here. We got the referee right there, and let's get it on. And Eric Young was teasing to get in there. He's like, nope, my time, and he starts walking away. Referee trying to tell him to get back into obviously get in the ring. So we went after him and start fighting with him a little bit, get in the ring, and the match officially started between Eric Young and Willie Mack. Match itself was pretty good, back and forth action between the two. Bad blood, which is how that was building up and everything. Willie Mack hits a swing shot cross body over the top onto the floor to Eric Young at one point. Both men ends up going to the top rope. Eric Young start biting on Willie Mack, sending him crashing on the mat. Eric Young follows it with a nice flying elbow drop. Willie Mack slams Eric Young, doing the smiley slam, paying homage to Norman Smiley. Follows it up with a standing moonsault. The same moonsault. Eric Young goes to rake the eyes of Willie Mack, and he goes to rake the eye of Willie Mack, but then he got caught with the stunner by Willie Mack. Willie Mack grabs a steel chair because he wanted to to get revenge for what happened to Rich Swann. Eric Young ends up recovering, and he ends up connecting the spike pile driver onto Willie Mack and gets the win. So Eric Young wins. So they build up Eric Young to go up against Rich Swann, but first they're gonna have him build up Eric Young. Gonna have him build up against Eddie Edwards, and we'll get to more of that later. Emergence. I cannot wait for that show, by the way, folks. Which, by the way, as of this recording, I apologize for the late review for Impact Wrestling for this edition, but as of this recording, I gotta get this up before tonight's Impact Wrestling, which tonight's Impact Wrestling is going to be about Impact Emergence. First, this could be the first event until we get to the next event, which is next week. So, but we have the Good Brothers. They're hunting for Ace Austin and Madman Fulton, and we'll get to more of that later. We get to Wrestle House, my favorite segment of the night and of the show. So Ty Valkyrie gathered everyone to watch her greatest hits. Taya noticed that cousin Jake and Susie were missing while this whole thing was going on, and there's a reason why too, because they're on a date. They're at a date inside the house of Wrestle House. Yeah. So you have Alicia Edwards, with all the basically getting her prepped up and all that, and then you have Cody Deaner, getting just doing the same thing with cousin Jake, and then they're staring at the mirror, doing this, it's like that. That was so awkward. But that was the end of that segment. But the other segment happened in in the middle of this whole thing was that you have Johnny Bravo massaging Taya, and Rosemary looking in disgust. Crazy Steve sees that Rosemary is disgusted, and basically something's upsetting her basically in a way, and that's when I realized. That's when I noticed. Wait a minute, Crazy Steve, Rosemary, Decay. John String said something to Crazy Steve at one point. Something about mentoring, whatever, something like that. I don't know. He was looking some nonsense because he's a veteran. That's why, because he must be in WCW, but he was back then. He was a jobber then, still a jobber to this day. And I didn't know. I think I talked about this before, either on the Asylum or on here before. Either way, I had no idea who he was before. When I saw in TN, back in TNA wrestling, Impact Wrestling, but he was also part of TNA wrestling as well. When it was called TNA. But he's also back in WCW, which I had no idea he was even in WCW either. So just goes to show you how John Swinger is a big name in wrestling, which he's not. But now he's being revived because of the stick that he's doing right now. But anyways, so Christy approaches Rosemary. They're reunited, just for a little bit, and then Rosemary dropped the word decay. She says something pertains to this whole thing, but she said decay, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy, and that's what she should be doing. Decay with Crazy Steve. Why have Rosemary do this whole thing with Johnny Bravo? What's the point of that? What's the purpose of it? How does that help Rosemary? So have her go back to the Crazy Steve. You want Rosemary to get some love interest? Crazy Steve is back, so why not do that? I don't get it. But we'll get back to this later. More of Wrestle House. Rhino was coming out of the bathroom. He gets jumped by Reno Scum, who were hired by Hernandez because Hernandez wants his money back, even though he lost it fair and square. So they start fighting. Rhino ends up losing the money. So Reno Scum got the money, and that will continue on the next episode of Impact Wrestling, which I'm pretty sure is going to happen on Emergence, I meant to say. Oh. Oopsie. Yeah, sorry about the mess, folks. Oh wait a minute, I don't want to do that again. All right. I was in the middle of doing something, and I realized I had to do this review. So here I am. Just saying. Anyways, I'll take it out later though. We get Kimberly versus Jordan Grace, which I thought it was a pretty good back and forth action between Kimberly and Jordan Grace. Basically, is for Kimberly to get the win, and basically we're potentially striking a deal with Deonna Purrazzo, who is the Impact Knockouts champion, and the Virtual Rosa. Excuse me, folks. Sorry about that, folks. The noise from the AC was distracting me, so I had to take care of that. So here I am. So back to this. Kimberly and Jordan Grace, having at it. Kimberly is doing a favor, a deal where it tends to the virtuoso Deonna Purrazzo. If she could beat Jordan Grace, she wants a shot against her. After Jordan Grace and Deonna Purrazzo had their match, which I'll get to more of that later too. But as far as the match was, Kimberly struck I'm laughing. I'm actually laughing because this person scripted on the notes here. Kimberly struck a deal with Knockouts champion Jordan Grace. Yeah, Jordan Grace. Last I checked, she's not Knockouts champion anymore, buddy. Oh, pal. Anyways. Anyways, so Jordan Grace hits a strong Irish whip into the corner to Kimberly. Jordan charged with into the buckle. Kimberly uses the referee as a shield, trying to cheat and everything. And it's a weird thing too, by the way, folks. Kimberly, we saw her last time, right with Rich Swann, where she's a babyface out of nowhere. Not to mention having a match against Deonna Purrazzo, and also being attacked by Deonna Purrazzo at one point. The first week being attacked by Deonna Purrazzo because she tried to help out, pertains to the brawl between Kylie Ray and Deonna Purrazzo. And then a week later, Deonna Purrazzo versus Kimberly, and then a week after that, Kimberly wants is striking a deal with Deonna Purrazzo, not Jordan Grace. And on the same week, coming out there to to celebrate the retirement of Rich Swann, and then as you all know what happened after that one. And then here's a new week, which is the one I'm covering right now, where Jordan Grace is facing Kimberly, and Kimberly is being a heel again. Speaking of Kimberly, she signed a long-term deal, a contract, with Impact Wrestling to stay with Impact Wrestling. So she made her choice to stay with Impact Wrestling. I just hope the same thing happens with Deonna Purrazzo, but we'll see, because there's something about that with regards to Deonna Purrazzo's situation, of why she's in Impact Wrestling. But anyways, so she tried to cheat, but Jordan Grace hits a spine buster for it too. Kimberly goes for a step up insecurity. She follows up with a German suplex for a near fall. Kimberly goes to the top rope for a swanton, but Jordan Grace misses the knee, and it gets her into the a choco, a renegade choco, and gets the win. I think Kimberly made a tap out, and it's funny that Jordan Grace misses a choco because she wants to go up against the submission specialist in Deonna Purrazzo, and we'll get to what the match is going to be for the next Impact Wrestling Emergence. Not the one tonight, but the one for next week. We get to Madison Rayne's locker room talk without, unfortunately, Johnny Swinger. And her guests were RVD and Katie Forbes. So Madison Rayne announced, that her first sponsor is none other than Heath, who's a free agent, and he's got kids. But it's only 30 seconds of it, and that was it. And also, the hashtag was Heath for Impact. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to join on the trend of that tweet, or the hashtag, for that tweet. But Madison Rayne welcomes RVD and Katie Forbes before she can have a conversation with them. RVD and Katie Forbes turn their attentions to each other, making out. Madison Rayne leaves, and then also it just turns to the RVD and Katie show. So RVD and Katie were interviewing one another. Also, Sami Callihan, hacks their show, attacks RVD. Katie Forbes uses some kind of spray to spray in the eye of the ICU hacker, which is Sami Callihan, and they start beating up on Sami Callihan, and that was it. So much for that mystique of Sami Callihan. I think eventually he's gonna win this program against RVD in the future, right? Right? Unless they're gonna have Jake Christ come return and help RVD to screw over his mentor. Right? Right? I don't know where they're going with this, folks. I'm just trying to make sense of this. I hate this feud. RVD, Katie Forbes versus Sami Callihan feud. I hate it. I think it's garbage. Way more garbage than the Good Brothers versus Ace Austin and Mammoth Fulton. Even way more garbage than Eddie Edwards' title run with the getup he's got up right now. The get up that he's got on. That's what I'm trying to say. But never mind that. So Trey Miguel, he stole Suicide's mask Why would he do it? I don't know. Maybe he has some grudge against Suicide. But it's with, Rascals. Also, Moose comes out of nowhere and informs Suicide for an invitation to get a shot of the TNA World Title, which is going to be on the first event of Impact Emergence. So, yeah, basically Moose is an idiot for not realizing that, Trey Miguel was wearing a Suicide mask. So he's giving Trey Miguel a shot. So I guess they're getting more of Trey Miguel of the single push. Is he going to beat Moose? No. Just saying. Back to Wrestle House. We see more of this Wrestle House segment with Tyra Valkyrie with her greatest hits. And Rosemary, plans out to make John E. Bravo jealous. So who she choose to do so? We'll get to that. Because also we see Cousin Jake and Susie on their date, and I thought it was kind of awkward. And then we get back to the whole who Rosemary is gonna muse to get Johnny Bravo jealous. And who does she muse? Not Crazy Steve. Not even a Johnny Bravo. I mean, not even a Johnny Swinger, I meant to say. Rosemary mused Larry D, who's married. Are you kidding me? So she cast some kind of spell on Larry D. So now Larry D is into Rosemary. I hate this. Alright. Sorry about that, folks. A package came in for me, so I thought I was gonna get one package today, which I did, but this is my second package. But anyways, by the way, for my next unwrapping, and by the way, there's another unwrapping episode I'll be doing too, by the way, folks. First the one that I already got scheduled, and then this one will be afterwards. Anyways, back to this. So Larry D and AC Romero are arguing about turning down food, and this led to a match. With Tommy Dreamer coming out of nowhere and saying, "Match time," and it's on. So AC Romero, excuse me, AC Romero versus Larry D with Cody Deaner as the referee. Match itself, it was decent, and Larry D got the win. Nothing to say about the match. It was short to the point. And then they called truce, and that was it. Whoopee. We get Deonna Purrazzo, the Virtuosa, the Impact Knockouts champion. She's going to defend against Jordan Grace in a rematch on the second night of Impact Wrestling Emergence. And she decided to set up the ante between herself and Jordan Grace. She decided to challenge Jordan Grace into a first ever 30 minutes Knockouts Iron Man match. I love it. I think it's great. I really mean that too, by the way, folks. I love it. Deonna Purrazzo, I would love to see her, wrestle that type of match. And Jordan Grace too. Those women can definitely pull it out. And I'm assuming that's the second night of it, by the way, for Emergence. Well, the second event. I'm not going to call it second night because it doesn't make any sense by calling it the second night if it's not going to happen the next night. But for example, tonight's Emergence is the first night, so I'm expecting the second Emergence to happen the next night, since AEW is not going to be on on that night because and the NBA, so whatever. But the point is, that match should be the main event for the second event for Emergence. So the North receives their rematch for the Impact World Tag Team Championships against the Motion Machine Guns for the first event of Emergence. I think that's gonna be the main event. That should be the main event. It might not be because it was already main event before. So we'll see. we shall see. By the way, no previews, no predictions for it, unfortunately, folks, because unfortunately I didn't get a chance to do it. I would have done it, but just didn't have the time to do it, unfortunately. Family thing. So, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz versus Havoc and Nevaeh in a tag team no disqualification match, and I thought this match was good. And basically, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz makes their way, only for them to just hide on the side of the stage. When Havoc and Nevaeh came out, they were ambushed by Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, and the match began. So Havoc was about to hit Tasha with a burning boot in the corner when Kiera Hogan stops her from the floor. Tasha hits Havoc in the back with a steel chair, only for Havoc to no soul it, basically no effect at all. Kiera Hogan sidesteps Havoc, sending her into the steel ring steps. Nevaeh connects with a strong clothesline to Tasha. She gets up. She gets hit with a left pipe from Kiera Hogan. Excuse me. Tasha connects with a neckbreaker on Nevaeh for a 2 count. Havoc kicks Kiera kicks her. I meant to say, Kiera Hogan into a German suplex that was delivered by Nevaeh. Excuse me for that confusion. All 4 women exchanging blows to each other until they fell down. And at that point, it was starting became it had the stats of being very good. Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz goes for a double super kick to have it send her to a table on the outside, and then Kiera Hogan hits Nevaeh with the swinging neckbreaker into basically into a bridge, which she calls it "Face the Music," and gets the win. So yeah, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz wins this match against Havoc and Nevaeh. So my question is, when are we going to get the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championships back in Impact Wrestling? Because that's what this whole thing is leading to at the end of the day, right? We're going to see these Knockouts Tag Teams come back. Because unless you bring that back, what's the point of this? I mean, it's great that you're giving Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz finally some good wins here, especially with Kiera Hogan. After all this time, they haven't her losing. The Good Brothers are furious at Ace, but potentially Doc Gallows getting arrested. Whoopee. Woohoo. Woohoo. Wham, wham, wham. Go crash to AJ Styles. They tell Scott D'Amore that they're going out of the ring, out to the ring, and they're not leaving until they do. Until they get Ace Austin and Mammoth Fulton. And we'll get to that. Excuse me. EC3 plays mind games with Moose with some kind of projection that was on the wall, and tells him the self-proclaimed TNA World Champion must be destroyed because of everything he's a symbolism of. And there you go. So let's do a more program with Moose versus EC3 eventually. So Suicide versus Dez with Wentz in his corner. Match began, but it only lasted for a couple of minutes because all of a sudden the Good Bros came out and basically attacked all of them, especially Suicide, who's supposed to have a mystique, an aura of him, and that was buried by the Good Brothers. Good Brothers calling out Ace Austin and Mammoth Fulton. They appear on the screen. They're not even in the state, so. But they challenge them to a fight on the next edition of Impact Wrestling, which is going to be Impact Emergence. Will be, well, the match should be good. If the match ain't good, then this feud was pointless. This feud sucks at the end of the day. Ray Rajul convinced Chris Bay, the Impact X Division champion, where it pertains to facing TJP, to make it a 3-way match instead of a 1-on-1. And Chris Bay said, okay, that was it. That was just okay. I hated it. Brian Myers, the most professional wrestler, is coming soon to Impact Wrestling. I'm sorry, not Mike. Did I say Mike Myers? I meant to say Brian Myers. Yeah, Mike Myers, who played Austin Powers, is gonna be in Impact Wrestling. He's gonna be wrestling. He's gonna be wrestling as Fat Bastard. No, I meant to say Brian Myers. Excuse me, the former Kurt Hawkins. Okay, back to the Wrestle House, which thank God. After Susie, having this date with cousin Jake. Jake says something. I don't remember what it was, because all of a sudden, I think he mentioned the name Susie, whatever, I guess, and then Susie, mentioned the name Su Young, meant to say to Susie, and then Susie was getting having that this transmission thing, whatever you call that that Susie is turning into Su Young, but she's still looking like Susie, but she's has that that whole thing where she's about to turn to Su Young and everything, which she never did turn into Su Young. And this had cousin Jake running away, and then Alicia said, "How'd it go?" And and Susie said to her, your advice was bad, and Alicia took offense to that, and she wants to have a match with her, so she called for Tommy Dreamer, and then Tommy Dreamer went, "Match time." I'm not kidding you. That's what he really did. He basically was trying to mimic The Rock. That was more cringer than seeing Paige saying to Shane McMahon, "We're gonna have a tag team match, playa." Where Tinsel Paige trying to mimic Teddy Long, because she was the general manager of SmackDown. Or should I say the assistant general manager of SmackDown. I don't remember what it was. Fuck WWE and fuck Paige. Anyways, Susie versus Alicia Edwards with Crazy Steve, which Crazy Steve had a nice face paint with reference to him being a referee. It was cool. Playing in as referee. So the match happens. Ty Valkyrie was pretending that everyone. I'm sorry. Ty Valkyrie was upset in the room that she's like, "Where everybody go?" Like because they went to see the match instead of seeing her greatest hits. So the match happens between Susie and Alicia, and Susie wins. Match itself, it was alright. It wasn't that bad. It was alright. Kylie Ray says that everyone wants to go to bed with, but Taya, dismissing her. Susie reminds Taya that Kylie Ray is no contender and has to defend her twice. I don't know. Kylie Ray challenge Taya to a match. If she beats her, then she gets her title shot. And all that. And Tom Jr. is gonna announce the whole match time thing again, but then Rosemary stops him for doing that. And Taya retreats. So we're gonna get the match next week between, well, not next week, actually tonight. We're gonna have a match. It's gonna be Taya Valkyrie versus Smiley Kylie Ray on Emergence, but it's gonna be a Wrestle House. In fact, they should just have Emergence at Wrestle House. Just saying. Wrestle House is more entertaining than what they're doing right now, especially with what they're doing with Eddie Edwards. So we get, finally, the open challenge for Eddie Edwards, where Tyson defending his world title, and I don't care. Just like if it wasn't Jay Lethal coming out to challenge him for the title, I don't care. But if Eric Youngway came out there, I probably would have cared a little bit. Because Eddie Edwards wants Eric Young to accept his challenge, to face him for what he did to Rich Swann, because he wants to avenge Rich Swann's for what happened. So he wants the attention of Eric Young, but instead we got the attention of the debut of Brian Myers. So Brian Myers gets a world title shot in 2020. The same Brian Myers who was Kurt Hawkins, who lost all of his matches in WWE, who had a losing streak, who couldn't win a match to save his own life. Jinder Mahal has a better winning record than Kurt Hawkins, or in this case, Brian Myers. Now, who's the better wrestler between the two? Brian Myers, obviously. Match happens. Didn't care. Eddie Edwards wins. Eddie Edwards buries another guy. So I'm supposed to believe that someone like a Brian Myers is a world champion, challenger material type of wrestler. Yeah, Wrestle House. Give me more Wrestle House than this crap. Seven matches were the total. My overall show rating for the show, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. And there you go. I mean, the show still was still good, despite the things I didn't care for. But nevertheless, whatever. But with that being said, thank you all for watching. For It's Not Your Boring Thriller, saying peace on the streets. This was your Impact Wrestling review. And there you go. Nothing else to say about that. So, I'm out here. Y'all take care of yourselves. Y'all stay well, stay safe. Everything that's going on, everything that's going on in the world. Make sure y'all love one another. Live in peace and harmony. I am out here. Ta-ta for now.